Let's talk about question number 20 from the practice test. It says to consider the following pseudocode fragment where x is an integer variable initialized to a non-negative integer value. We're trying to find value x, see how it behaves in this code, and then look at the four choices A, B, C, and D and see which one behaves the same way. What happens is x is divided by 2 first, and then the loop starts. Sum starts at 1. It's checked to see if x is greater than 0. If it is, sum is increased by 1, and then x is divided by 2. Checked again, and if it's still true, it continues in the for loop cycle, as we've talked about. So probably the best way to do this is just to pick a value for x. Let's try the value 10. This chart shows you what happens when x starts out as 10. First, 10 is divided by 2, which makes it 5. Sum starts at 1. Immediately x is checked to see if it's greater than 0, which it is, so that's true. Sum increases by 1. 5 divides by 2 to make 2. Still true, still greater than 0. Sum increases by 1. 2 divides by 2 to make 1. Still true, greater than 0. Sum increases once again. 1 divides by 2 to make 0, and this is integer division, so there is no decimal or remainder. This makes it false, and the loop stops with the final value of sum being 4. So the trick now is to see which one of these, A, B, C, or D, will give us the same answer as the trace we just did. Here is the trace through for choice A. We start x at 10. Sum starts at 0. We immediately divide x by 2 to get 5. We check to make sure it's greater than 0. It is. Sum increases by 1. Divide by 2 again. Still true. Increase by 1. Divide by 2 again. Still true. Increase by 1. Divide by 2 again. Still true. Increase by 1. Now when 0 divides by 2, it's still 0. And this is still going to be true because it's greater than or equal to 0. And as you can see, this will just continue on indefinitely. Infinite loop. And this is not the choice that we want. Here's the trace through for the code segment for choice B. Sum starts at 1, x starts at 10 again, and then immediately divides by 2. So it's 5. The check says it's greater than or equal to 0, which is true. Sum increases by 1. We divide again. Still true. Increase by 1. Divide again. Still true. Increase by 1. Divide again. It's still true because it's greater than or equal to 0, and you can see how this one will continue the same way as A did into an infinite loop. In D, sum starts at 1. We start x again at 10. Immediately, sum increases by 1, becomes 2, and then x divides by 2 to make 5. The check is at the end. It's true. We continue increasing by 1. Divide by 2, still true. Increase by 1, divide by 2, still true. Increase by 1, divide by 2, now it's false because this is a greater than 0, but the sum value is 5, not 4, not the choice we want. So the only one left to look at is C, which must be correct. Let's see why. Sum starts at 0, immediately increases by 1, x divides by 2, still true at the end. Increases by 1, divides by 2, true at the end. Increase by 1, divide by 2, still true. Increase by 1, divide by 2. Now it's false, but the sum value is 4, which matches the original program trace. So C is the correct answer in this case.